the enigmatic entrepreneur whose words will make you sure. Know, trust, and believe. The master teacher has come to help you succeed. The gem dropper, the truth speaker, the voice in the universe that will bring you to your highest peak. Welcome to the Get High on Motivation Show with Mimi the Motivator, your favorite motivator's favorite motivator.
The time is here, the time is now. So pick up and put on your crown. Goodbye to yesterday. Welcome to life eternal.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, love bugs. It's your favorite motivator's favorite motivator. And I was muted, and I do apologize. I'm back with you now, YouTubers. So listen, today we are talking about awakening and ascension symptoms. Like I mentioned earlier, is that, I was down. My energy was down. I was vibrationally low. I was sick. I was tired. I was hurting. All kind of stuff was going on. But the truth is that I was going through an ascension process. I was going through a next level of awakening. So that's what we'll talk about today. So that way, in case you're going through this, or you know somebody that is, you'll be able to recognize these signs. But first, of course, we have to have our food for thought. So today's food for thought comes from one of my favorite philosophers in the world of metaphysics. And her name is Florence Scovel Shinn. And Miss Shinn, or Miss Scovel Shinn, she writes books, or wrote books, because she's way back from like 1920. This book was published in 1920 that I'm about to refer to, which is called The Game of Life and How to Play It. But she has this chapter that I really would love to delve into more one day, which is about the law of non-resistance. She says, now make sure you got your listening ears on and don't have your heart on your sleeve. She says, one is often cured of his faults by seeing them in others. One is often cured by his thoughts by seeing them in others. Have you ever had somebody that was just like really getting on your nerves and you didn't really know what to do about it? Have you ever complained or fussed at somebody for doing something and then you caught yourself turning around and doing the same thing? We talk about it all the time. And yes, I say a lot of the same stuff over and over and over because we learn through repetition. But people are offering us an experience for us to become better. People are offering us an experience for us to level up, for us to heal, whether it's to heal something on the surface level or something down deep in the jungle of our hearts. But people are showing us ourselves. It happens to me all the time. And that's when I be knowing I really got to be mindful of what comes out of my mouth and who is coming out too. Because as soon as I might fuss at somebody for something, I do it. And that's how I know I don't have no business fussing at nobody for nothing. We're all people going through life's happenings. And that's okay. That's what we're here for. But we also have to know that the people who in our lives that are giving us these character building situations or really rubbing us the wrong way are really polishing us up. And if we started to think about that they're actually polishing us and not rubbing us the wrong way, maybe we might change how we respond to them. Because very often we're going ham on people for no reason. We're going ham on people because we haven't remembered the 4 agreements. With the first agreement being don't take anything personally. And the second agreement of assuming things. Because one, we're taking what they're doing personal as if they're not having their own life experience over there that has nothing to do with us. We just happen to be there as a witness or be there as a co-creator. But these people who are getting on our nerves and doing stuff that really bothers us are showing us something about ourselves. So what is it that gets on your nerves about the people in your life? What is it that somebody at work does that just makes you want to smack them? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like I'm by myself. Drop something in the comment box if you can hear me, if you know, or if you can feel me of what I'm saying. People getting on your nerves doing stuff. But the main thing is for us to reflect back, to spend some time in introspection. What we feel, often somebody else is feeling too. What we're going through, someone else may be going through, but going through it in a different way where we may not recognize it. And that's okay. Everybody has how they deal with life. Everybody has how they respond. And first and foremost, men and women respond 2 different ways. So please don't expect him to respond like you do. Don't expect her to handle the situation like you do, brother, because we all are different. We all operate differently, and we have to be okay with that. Don't think that you are so prime and perfect and polished up that you don't make mistakes, that you don't have faults. We all have faults. If you're faultless, give me a call and let me know how you make that happen, because I wouldn't mind learning something from you. Because in my world, I have faults. My clients have faults. And love bugs, you have faults, and it's okay. And that's why we got to tell ourselves, I'm doing just fine. Yes, I have faults, but I'm doing just fine. Because things are going to happen. People are going to happen. Shift is going to happen. And we all have to be okay with that. All right. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about these signs of ascension. Let's talk about these signs of an awakening. So I don't know if you've ever heard about the life of a lobster. And you probably think, what the hell does that have to do with anything, right? Well, when a lobster is growing, they didn't come with that shell. That shell doesn't grow with them. They start with a small shell. And then at some point, that small shell starts to get uncomfortable. It starts to get tight. It's not working for them. So what they do is they go crawl up under a rock and they shed that shell and form a new shell. And then they go back out into their little water world. What's happening for them is they're having an ascension. Ascension is a leveling up. It is a growing. It is an expansion. And it doesn't always feel good. More than likely, it will not feel good. So be ready for that. It's going to have all kind of symptoms. We're just going to call them symptoms for lack of better words. So let's talk about the first one. The number one thing is that you will be sensitive. You will be so overly sensitive that you don't even know what's going on. You sensitive to people's energy. You feel when their energy shifts. You can, without even looking at them, you can hear it in their voice. You can just feel it. They may not have said anything, but you will feel that energy shift. You'll feel the energy shifts in rooms. You'll be so sensitive, it's ridiculous. You'll be sensitive to sounds. You'll be sensitive to light. You'll be sensitive to smells. Stuff will be smelling like, oh my God, what is that? And everybody else around you is thinking like, it's not that bad. What's your problem? Like I ordinarily am very sensitive to fluorescent lighting. So in the morning, you can't turn lights on in my house. Or if I'm at your house, you can't turn lights in your house because I can't handle it. It blinds me. I can see better in the dark. You flip that light on, I'm like, bright light, but it's because of the sensitivity. When you are at a higher level of a light being, you're sensitive to more. You're sensitive to anything that can affect people a little bit. It affects you a lot. The other thing that happens is you go through a sickness. It's called Ascension Sickness. You will have flu-like symptoms. You're going to hurt. Your nose going to run. You're going to be sneezing. You're going to have headaches, migraines. You're going to have pain, especially like in your neck area, maybe even in your legs. And it's because your body is trying to create more space to receive more light. Now, that's something that you can't do nothing about. And you probably going to be wondering what is going on with me. I've been eating right. I've been exercising. I've been taking my vitamins. What's happening to me? Why am I sick like this? It's because it's something you are leveling up. And when I say level up, I don't mean that your money is leveling up. And that can be an after fact. But what's happening is that your spirit is leveling up. Your spirit is getting closer to home, or it's calling home. And home is not, where you were born, although you might have that strong feeling to just go home, like you really want your mama or you really want your daddy, even though you're a grown person. And it's because you are feeling a sense of uncomfort or discomfort that you may not be familiar with. And that's okay. These pains are the energy being collected in our bodies, because our body holds energy. And I think that's a lot of things people are not aware of. That our body holds memories. Speaking of memories, Lord have mercy, when you are going through an ascension process, you are going to have memories that come back that you're like, where did that come from? They're going to be memories from when you were a kid, and you will see them vividly. You will see memories that you think, that's not my memory, but it is. It's a memory from a past life. This is not your first go round. Energy is not created nor destroyed. It is only transferred. Now, I'm not trying to push no second lifetimes or reincarnation on you. But what I am letting you know, that energy is energy, and you, love bug, are an energy being. You are a house of energy, a temple of energy. That's why we are the temple. And we have to be making sure that we are taking care of the temple, keeping it clean of bad energy. So one thing we can do when we are experiencing these ascension symptoms or awakening symptoms, let's talk about that, is that one thing you can do is to take some salt baths. If nothing else, if you don't have a tub, then you better get you a bowl and get you some pink Himalayan salt and sprinkle it in there with some water and just sit it near you. If you have to encounter people, sit it between y'all so it can get their energy too. And then when you're done, make sure you pour that stuff out. But be burning things. Burn your sage, burn your incense, burn your candles. All these things can burn away some of this negative energy. And if you are saging, please open up your doors and your windows and let the smoke out. Don't just be sitting there with the doggone sage smoke all up in your nose and stuff like that. Yes, it does smell good and it is calming, but you need to let that bad energy out the door. Let it go. So I want to come back to a couple of more symptoms so I don't forget. So another symptom is not like a sickening symptom. It's kind of what I find the fruit of this is that you find yourself having a desire to be more authentic, to be more of yourself. Even if you didn't know who exactly yourself was, you just feel yourself acting different. You find yourself maybe thinking differently. You find yourself responding to life situations and the people in your life differently. And that differently can look all kinds of ways. Typically, when you start ascending, people are going to get on your nerves on a different level. And not that they're doing anything that is nerve-wracking or that can be pestering or bothering. What it is that you've started vibrating at a higher level. And anybody down on this level of vibration, you just ain't going to vibe with. You're going to find yourself cutting people off. You're going to find yourself not wanting to talk to certain people or be in relationship with certain people. So your relationships are going to change. Definitely. If it hasn't already started happening for you. Whoever your friends were, you're going to be looking at them like, why are we friends? You're going to look at your business partners, be like, is this really the right thing to do? You have to be ready for all of this to happen, okay? You got to be ready for change. You got to be ready for transformation, because that's what's really happening. It's bigger than change. You can change and change back. But this is transformation. You are never going to go back to where you were once you have ascended to a higher level. So be ready to ascend. Be ready to be awakened. Why do they call it awakening? Because you've been walking around sleep. You've been walking around sleep to what's really going on in the world. You've been walking around sleep to your own existence. Many of us are just going through life. We go to work. We take care of our house. We might have a little fun. Some of us don't even do that. But we're just going through life, going through the life happenings. That's not living. That's literally sleepwalking. So many people are out here like zombies. And I feel like even more people are becoming zombies. You're definitely becoming sheeple, which means you're just following the hips in front of you. You're following what they're doing on Instagram. You're following what they're doing on Facebook. You're following what the superstars are doing on TV that you ain't got no business even trying to do. Can I get an amen? Can I get an ashe? This is real life though, y'all. There's no way that you're going to go through life without an ascension process. Now, it happens sooner for some people and later for others. But know that you are going to go through the motions and the emotions. So be ready for that. Be ready to be an emotional wreck, okay? You are going to be an emotional mess. You're not going to be able to stand yourself. You might find yourself crying, and the next thing you know, you're super happy. You're thinking like, am I bipolar? What's going on here? No, love bug. You are not bipolar. You are just going through the vibrational emotions. You're going through the vibrational cycles of life. We have seasons in life, just like there are seasons out there in the atmosphere. And some of your seasons last years at a time. So your winter season might last for a long time. And that's when we're in that dark space and we wondering what is going on in my life. Why am I not progressing? It's because it's winter time and your spring is coming. But please believe it's going to be a little tumultuous between that winter and that spring. You're going to sweat a little bit. You're going to sweat in real life and you're going to be sweating on the inside. So I'm going to continue to say, be ready. Be ready for these changes to happen within your body. Be ready for the changes that are going to happen in your outer world, because we know that what's going on in our outer world is always a reflection of what's going on in our inner world. Are you ready to really level up, or do you just talk about it? Are you really ready to be a better person? Are you really ready to be a more spiritually aligned person? Are you really ready to be a no-limit manifester? It manifests anything that you desire. You think of it and it becomes a thing immediately, like abracadabra. Because if that is what you desire, then you have to be willing to go through this ascension process. You have to be willing to go through the rough times. You have to be willing to go through the trials and the tribulations, through the dark times, so that way you can ascend into the light. And so that way you can be more of a light in this world. If you're listening to this show, you, love bug, you have been called to be a light being, a light worker. And that doesn't mean that you got to be a hippie and smoke weed or be, it means nothing of that nature. What it means is that you have been selected. You have been designed, fabricated, and wired to make a difference in this world, to make an impact. Even if that impact is just in your household, even if that impact is just in your family, in your community, your impact might go so far that it becomes worldwide. Your job is just to do you. Be authentically yourself and to continuously figure out who that is. Because who you were last year better not be who you are today. And if it is, then we got work to do. That means it's time for you to book a discovery call with Mimi the Motivator, your favorite motivator's favorite motivator, so we can get your mind, body, spirit, and finances right. We have to be willing to go through the process. Do you know how many people just want the rewards? I was talking to one of my business partners, or a couple of them, last night in a business meeting. And I say, y'all can't just say that you want to be a millionaire. You can't just say you want to be a billionaire. You have to have the habits. You have to do the work. People want the rewards without the responsibilities. People want the prize without the work. They want the next level without going through what it takes to get there. Do you think that somebody plays in the minor league plays at the level of somebody in the major league? Now, I'm not saying that they're not as talented as each other, but what I do know is the people who make it to the majors have made major moves. They have major thoughts. They have a major success problem, is what I call it. And what I call a success problem is you have a problem when you are not creating success. When you are a high performer person, you're not with stuff not happening. If you are about results, then you're going to be about results. So it's time for you to be about results, even in your spiritual world. Because when we level up in our spiritual world, it makes everything else rise up. Are you really ready to level up? Are you really ready to become that person that you've been talking about, or that you dream about, or that you fantasize about, or that you look in the mirror and say, I am this, when you affirming? Be willing to go through the process. Be willing to go through the ugly stage. I'm going through an ugly stage right now with my hair, y'all. You know, I'm used to having my long dreadlocks, and then I thought I was cute with my little bald head. But this right here is driving me nuts, this little short hair. But it's part of the process. Especially if I ever want to have long hair again, then I got to go through short hair. Be willing to go through the process to get to where you desire to be. Be willing to go through the process to have what you desire to have. You have to be conditioned. And the conditioning is really up to you. Condition yourself for what it is that you desire. When you start recognizing that you're having these ascension symptoms or these awakening phases going on in your life, first of all, sit back, relax. You might need to strap on your seatbelt because it is going to be a roller coaster ride, but be willing to go on the ride. Be willing to experience the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, because in that you're going to get to know yourself better. Know thyself, and to thyself be true. The more you get to know yourself is the more you can actually be yourself and not be who you've been told to be. Not who your parents have told you to be or expecting you to be. Not who your boo is expecting you to be. Not who your boss is expecting you to be, but who you have this inner calling to be. You might even have this feeling to switch career paths. You might have this feeling to really follow your passion, where you may not have been doing. You may just been working your job that pays you really good, and you like, look, I need that paycheck. I got to take care of my house and stuff. But right now you're feeling a calling to do something different, something bigger, something more impactful, something scary. If it don't scare you, then it ain't the thing. If you're not afraid to take that step out there, then that step is too little that you're considering. Consider taking a bigger step. Consider that what you desire is waiting on you to take that bigger step. What you are desiring is waiting on you to ascend to it. You got to go to the upper level, boo. It's time for us to go to the upper level of life. It's time for us to go to our upper level of being our best and highest and greatest selves. That's why the pains are coming, because you are separating from your lower self. And it doesn't feel good. They're growing pains. We've heard of growing pains. I know I had them. When I was in the 9th grade, I entered high school maybe 5 feet tall. But I finished 9th grade being 5'5", 5'6". Please believe it was very uncomfortable. I remember walking funny, just feeling out of place. That's what it feels like when you are ascending. You feel out of place. You feel discombobulated. You might even start losing some of your short-term memory. You just like, what am I doing? What did I come in here for? It's okay. Give yourself some grace. And know that you are exactly where you should be, and that you are leveling up. That is something greater, something higher is calling you. I need water. Y'all got me talking up a storm over here. I think I'm really passionate about this subject, maybe because, like I said, it recently happened to me and I didn't know what was going on with me. All I know is, y'all, I was sick, and I don't get sick. And it took me the longest, it felt like the longest, to get up out of it. But all I know is my body was calling me to lay down. My body was calling me to meditate. My mind, my spirit was calling me to meditate. Definitely, if you're going through any of this, meditate, meditate, meditate. I don't care if you just lay there. Just lay there and play some subconscious programming and just lay there. Don't do nothing but just lay there. That will count as meditation. Rest. Rest your mind. Rest your body. Rest your spirit. So there's one more symptom that I'm going to tell you about. Do you ever wake up between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and wondering, why am I woke? What's going on? Yeah. When we wake up during those times, it's usually another sign that we're going through an awakening process. That is when the universe can really deposit into you. It's also sometimes your body just needing to take a break from whatever it was going through while you were asleep. A lot of things take place. A lot of growth takes place when we are sleeping. It's not just babies and children who grow while they're sleeping. We do too. Sleep is the highest antioxidant, which means it's the juice that we need, that we don't even know that we need. So while people out there talking about team no sleep or want to work 60 hours, 80 hours, honey, take a nap. Your spirit needs a nap. Your mind needs a nap. And I'm sure your body does too. So today is all about really being able to identify when an ascension or awakening process is taking place in our lives, so that way we can respond adequately. That way we're not freaking out. And that way we're not freaking the people out in our lives. Maybe we're not snap, crackling, and popping on them just because they're not at the vibrational altitude in which we are. Because that's what happens. When you start elevating, you be looking at people like, what's wrong with you? Get witty. Love bugs. I think what I really want to tell you today is to give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace, give the people in your life some grace, and be open to seeing what is really going on. Be open to feeling what is really going on in your life. Because there's so much in this world that are going on that we're not aware of. We don't know it all. We probably know about this little bitty pinch of information. And I'm going to say we have a pinch of information, because the more I learn is the more I figure out that I don't know nothing. That's all I know is I don't know nothing. The one thing that I do know is that if you are going through this process, give thanks and praise that you know that you're leveling up and that you'll be in a position to help others do the same. When you ascend, yes, you get irritated with people. But after you get past that irritation spot, you'll be in a spot feeling like you really want to give them the gift that you have discovered, which is the gift of being yourself, being closer to yourself, being more in tune with yourself, being more in tune with the universe, being more in tune with the people around you. You can't avoid this whole ascension process. You can't. So just be ready. Be ready, or get ready to be ready. Get ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. Because change is in the atmosphere. Transformation is in the atmosphere. An awakening is in the atmosphere going across the nation. And I believe that if you are listening to me, you are a part of that awakening. So tap into it, love it, and be okay with it. I am Mimi the Motivator, your favorite motivator's favorite motivator. And please believe I could have talked about this all day. I still got more symptoms that I didn't even tell you about. So maybe we'll have a part 2 some other day. But I want to thank you all for tuning in each and every week. If you haven't found this show on one of those music streaming apps, do that right now. You don't have to come to YouTube to watch me. You don't have to go to Instagram. You can just listen and do your work, listen and do your exercise, and just spend some time with me, the Motivator. And I'll see you next week. This is Get High on Motivation, where we come together every week to become 1% better in one area of our life. I love you. I'm here for you. I appreciate you and I support you. Be happy. Be healthy. Be you.